Alright, this is Angel Message 3, and I have with me tonight Archangel Michael, who is the son of Hermes Thoth, and the genetic reflection of constellations Orion and Aguila. Extremely powerful being. Energetically, when he comes and goes, it's like a dark, heavier shadow energy field that comes in and fuses with me, and then when he leaves, same thing. I can actually feel the energy leave me. So he wants me to let you know that what's happening now, you could call it channeling, but it's basically hyperdimensional communication. Because I'm in an illuminated state, my pineal pituitary gland and antenna system are aurically expanded. Anyway, this is not much difference than that which happens with good channels or psychics who are used to communicate with earthbound relations of angels. Of course, you have to say prayers of protection to keep negative infringements from contaminating what comes through. But anyway, what I'm used as a scribe channel, if you would, for the angelic family who basically own and run this garden, Zeus's family. Anyway, part of them, some of them are Mary Uriel, Cassiopeia, Hermes Thoth, Samuel, Michael, Metatron, Melchizedek, Jesus, Udama, Emmanuel, Gabriel, and others. Anyway, I'm basically used as their communications link or channel to earthbound portrayal. And the reason that you see Michael in scripture often related to visionary experiences by John the divine and Daniel the prophet was because both of them were descended aspects of Hermes Thoth. And Michael is his caretaker, basically, when he comes into the garden. But at the end of the cosmic era of darkness, in a new era that spawns the age of Aquarius, the Father allows demonic feeding in the garden, and they feed off of the energy generated orgasmically by angel vessels that are in the garden. The way that works is, and it's not much different than how the angels renew their lives, but demons are allowed, like the Anunnaki reptilian predatory race that lives or exists at the upper end of the lower astral realm, right outside normal human perception, in a non-illuminated state, and then their creations. One of them is the griffin dragon, the flying griffin human hunting hound. It's in a dragon form. And then on the lower end of the spectrum, lower astral spectrum, below the sensory capacity of non-illumined humans, they have a creation that Michael calls the Etheric dragon vampire leech. And oh gosh, there's a I wrote about it in the books he gave me, but that book would be very important for all to read now, because these leeches, these dragon-esque vampire leeches, basically feed off the energy field of energy generators. They're suckers. They're energy vampires. Anyway, they are basically the subject matter of the cause of the need for exorcisms, which is expanding exponentially now. So what happens is when the negative principality Anunnaki come to the end of their feeding era, which is the age of Pisces now, which is a predatory era, they let loose their etheric dragon vampire leech in the garden, say 200 or 300 years before the climax of their harvest reap occurs, and they multiply. So they let them go. Most humans can't see them. Some can in a luminous state, but what happens is they let them go, and they're like, emotional, self-serving, irritating, like a huge etheric bedbug in a sense. And once it gets a hold of somebody's energy field, it doesn't like to let go, because that's the source of their livelihood, of their energy that they use to sustain their life. Anyway, the Anunnaki generated the etheric vampire leech and let them go a couple of 100 years ago in the garden, and they basically latch on to any contaminated energy field and basically will use it mercilessly to feed itself, and at the same time generates an incredibly intense state of self-servingness. And so what you're seeing now everywhere in the garden is psychological disorder, physical disorder, emotional disorder, people standing up, lying through their teeth, thinking that they're going to get away with it. I mean, it's just totally insane. And then all the people who sit there and listen to the guy's lies believe it and want to believe it because they're infested too. So this is one of the major plagues that are prophesied in the book of Revelation. And that plague is happening everywhere. And the Anunnaki also govern the NATO powers. They govern their money through the central banking system. It's their system. And so what they do is they own the militaries, the secret services, the communication systems, everything. And so at the end, when the climax harvest season comes, what they do is contaminate the whole garden with, contaminated vaccines, chemtrails, spraying viruses, fungus, heavy metals, you name it. They're just spraying it all over the garden. And what that does is contaminate the physical and emotional essence of people, that then allows the etheric dragon vampire leech to feed off of them, because they feed off of contaminated energetics that is intrinsic to a self-serving system like Babylon the Great. Anyway, so they contaminate, they get a contaminated energy field, and then the etheric leech contaminates them that much more, and you see all kinds of strange things trying to feed sexually. And what you're seeing happening now is an explosion of anal sex. The reason that that's going on is that these etheric dragon vampire leeches, and I'm listening to this right now as I'm telling you, so he's telling me this. These etheric dragon vampire leeches are best fed through orgasm, which generates a high intensity light that feeds that negative soul essence. And so they will do all sorts of weird things just to come to an intense orgasm without having to go through the human sexual mating code, any of that. They just jump on it, and all of a sudden, you know, somebody will be having sex, and then one or both of them will want, you know, get off on anal sex, and, you know, a massive orgasm that feeds the demons that are, you know, behind all of this. That's why you see an explosion of it. Anyway, it's not just in the sexual realm, because these entities basically have infested the corporate world that is so self-serving, can justify serving self unlimitedly without concern for others. And so what he's saying now is read the book, because it's in there, and he's saying that the reason, he's got a couple of songs that talk about this. What you do, you have to get in a selfless state. You have to get out of the seductions of Babylon the Great, get in a non-seductive state, get in a pure state, give allegiance to be governed by universal law and the Father Creator through a selfless law, and then get in a selfless state, and then he can hear you praying and asking for help. And it's very simple. I went through the thing too. You just call upon Michael in a selfless state. You can't have all this material baggage on you. There's no way that he can hear you like that. And he tells it in the song. You get in a selfless state, and then he comes, and I'll tell you, I had one of these things on me, and I tell the story in the book, but I was on bended knee, because I knew something was wrong with me. And I basically called Michael one night, and I'm telling you, it is true. He came, and basically I felt him lift that etheric vampire leech off of me and then send it fluttering away. I could actually see the wings of it flying off. Anyway, that's one level of it. The etheric dragon vampire leech also functions to so contaminate a human angelic portrayal that an Anunnaki reptilian will fuse with that being, and you better watch out, you know, when it comes to sex, because it'll be like, you know, you rode a horse, a huge stallion that was, you know, just couldn't get enough of you. And that's basically how they feed. And they'll fuse with, you know, one or more of the human angelic, you know, vessels, and bring them to climax one way or the other, and, you know, they'll look back and go, why did we do that? Anyway, Mary Ura talks about it some in the Halo cookbook too. Anyway, he's giving the warning now that all of this is part of biblical prophecy, and it is allowed. And so what you have to do is to get out of Babylon, get in a selfless state, and if you feel like you're contaminated or somebody else is contaminated, you better call on him, you know, or one of his legions that are waiting to be asked to, you know, remove these, you know, plagues, this etheric dragon vampire leech plague from attaching to certain people. Anyway, I can't stress this enough, because these Babylonian finance centers are infested with these critters, and they are causing a lot of trouble. And now you'll see the Anunnaki in an etheric state fusing with sexual beings just to get fed energetically. So take heed. And I don't know what else. What else did you want to tell me? That's pretty much it. Anyway. Yes. Listen to the songs too, because they have the clues in there too.